During the next hour, you're invited to learn how credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindset are essential to helping you achieve the American dream. Please join your host, Hyacinth Henderson, for today's episode.
Happy Saturday, everyone. Today is Saturday, December 21st, 2019, and you are tuned in to the American Cream Show. I am your host, Hyacinth Henderson, and it is such an absolute pleasure and an honor to be here. I'm happy to have you here. If you are listening to the sound of my voice, congratulations. That means you made it another day. Your work is not done. You still have purpose. And that is why you are up and at 'em on this beautiful Saturday morning or whatever day you're listening to this, because you may be catching it on my YouTube show or another platform. So thank you for being here. If you are new here, I am going to quickly tell you what the American Cream is all about. The American Cream Show is where we redefine the American dream with CREAM. And CREAM stands for credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindset. And the reason why we want to redefine the American dream on your terms with CREAM is because when you do things that really aren't on your terms, you don't put your all into it. You don't know the purpose. You don't know the intention. You just kind of end up floating a little bit. And so I found that after being in financial services for the past 17 years, 2020 will actually make my 18th year. After being in financial services for the past 17 years, I've realized that most people, most humans are kind of just floating along and not really sure which direction they're going in. Some people have an idea of the destination, and destination for everyone is like financial freedom. And financial freedom can mean different things. So I figured out, I said, hey, we got to do something. We got to take back our power. We have to set intention. We have to create a plan to help us get to the promised land of financial freedom. And by doing so, I came up with 5 major points, and that's credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindset. And those are the points that I firmly believe and know and trust in that will enable you, if used correctly, to get to where you want to be so that you can live the life of your dreams now and live a legacy instead of leaving a legacy, right? So oftentimes people want to leave a legacy and they feel like they have to struggle in this incarnation. So like while you're here, you have to struggle because you're doing everything so that your children and your children's children can benefit. And that's really if you're even thinking that far. But most people are like, gosh, I got to get my kids straight, or I have to get to retirement. You're not thinking about living in the moment now. And so what I want you to think about is just a tweak in language, right? So instead of leaving a legacy, I'm here to show you how to live a legacy. And that means in the right now moment. All right. So one of the things that I want to talk to you about today is life insurance. And I know life insurance is a topic that no one really wants to talk about. Just because I guess for some reason, most people think that they're immortal. They're going to live forever. Or maybe let me take that back. They don't think that they're going to live forever. They just don't want to face the man in the mirror or have that conversation. And the reason why I want to talk about life insurance today, I usually sugarcoat it and tell you a fancy story and lead up to it and say, da-da-da-da, I'm talking about life insurance. But I feel like as we approach the end of the year, it's no time for that. There's no time for that. And especially because I've had 2 calls within the past week regarding life insurance and the need or the ignorance related to life insurance. And so a little bit about me. I've been doing this, as I explained, for the past 17 years. I am a licensed stockbroker. I am a registered investment advisor. I'm also a life and annuity broker as well. So I don't want you to think that I just rolled over on this Saturday morning and said, hey, let me mosey on down to the radio station without any experience. I've been doing this for about 17 years. But this past week, I got 2 calls. The first call came from a good friend of mine. I've known this gentleman for about 15 years or so. We've been great friends. And he called and he said, hey, his grandmother isn't doing so well. She's in the hospital. Can I check on that life insurance policy that we put in force for her many years ago? Had to have been about maybe 15 years ago that we took this policy out. And so I said, sure, no problem. Sorry to hear about Grant. I'm sorry this difficult moment, but you're right to kind of think about, your financial house and the money and things like that as far as what you're going to do. We have to make final arrangements for your grandmother, thinking about her assets and her estate and things like that. So I said, great, you called ahead of time. Let's do this. So I went to our file room and I pulled out her file, made some calls, and as it turns out, they had let the policy lapse. So they no longer had life insurance. So on one hand, I was thinking, gosh, they called ahead of time just to make sure all their ducks was in a row. On the second hand, I realized that maybe there needed to be some sort of conversation before we got to the final stages. Like, who's been checking on grandmother every year to make sure that she was paying her life insurance premiums, or that the premiums were paid, whether she was paying it or someone else was paying it. So that was one call that I got regarding life insurance. And the second call that I received this week regarding life insurance was from a lady who, her friend had passed away, I think last year. Her friend had passed away last year in 2018, and her friend had minor children. One of the children is turning 18 this year. So the life insurance company has been holding that money for an entire year. And I guess in this case, it's great that, or we got to look at the bright side, if there is a bright side to the situation, that the child at that time was maybe 17. And so now he only had a year to go until he turned 18. But the life insurance company was holding that money until he turned 18. And so now she called and she said, hey, we're going to get a check. We're going to get a large amount of money, and we need to know what to do with it. He's just going to be turning 18 years old. We know that the Henderson Financial Group is big on education, and we want to bring him in there so that we can have a conversation. And say, great. So I thought about it. Says, okay, if that isn't a sign, I got two, calls regarding the same week regarding, just the misunderstanding or needing education regarding life insurance. Because we talk about life insurance and we sell life insurance all day, every day with our eyes closed. But these calls let me know that there needed to be a conversation about life insurance. So what I want to do is I want to start slow. I am reminded, and my dad does a great job reminding me of this. Speaking of my father, he is going to call in at 6:30 today, and I'm going to have him in for the second half of the show. He's going to call in, and we're going to have a conversation about the whole just state of what we have going on. We're talking about the economy and things like that. And so we're going to have that conversation at 6:30. But going back to the story, my dad always reminds me, Hyacinth, you've been doing this for 17 years. So what seems normal or natural or easy for you is foreign for other people. And I have to and we have these conversations quite frequently. And here we are. So I decided let's talk about life insurance. Let's talk about the need of life insurance. I figure it's the perfect time. Everyone is shopping for their loved ones. It's the holiday season. Whatever you celebrate, 90%, 99%, I would say the 1% is maybe not, but 99% of the society or humans are shopping for gifts. You are shopping, you are ordering online, you're doing everything that you can to purchase something, anything, to show the persons or the people in your life that you love them dearly and you care about them. So you're spending your money on things, and that's cool. But I want you to think about life insurance, because one day, we don't know when that day is going to come, but one day, we all have a day. You're not going to stay in this shell forever. You're going to transition, and you should be thinking about, as you're doing your gift giving, who am I gift giving for? Like, what am I really giving them? And I usually say if you have children, you certainly need life insurance, but it goes beyond that now. At this point, I believe that even the children need life insurance. And so let me just start by breaking down what life insurance is and the components of life insurance. So we got about 15 minutes to do this. And you guys know that I'm long-winded and I talk a lot. So I'm going to, try to get this in within 15 minutes in a way that's easy for you to understand. So life insurance is something that basically a company says, hey, you're betting, or you feel like you're going to transition one day. And then for today's show, we'll use the term die. You feel like you're going to die one day, And we feel like you may live longer than you think. We feel like you may live longer. And so we're going to charge you a premium. We're going to charge you some money. And really what they're saying also is we feel like you know that you're going to die one day, and you want us to pay the people that you love, but we're betting that you won't keep up the insurance policy. Just like my friend's grandmother. We're betting that you're going to listen to Hyacinth today, understand the need and the importance of life insurance, and then one day you're going to just say, oh, forget it. I'm sick and tired of paying this. And as you're sick and tired of paying it, then the inevitable is going to happen. Maybe not the next day or the next year, the next month, but one day you're going to transition and you won't have any coverage. So the components of life insurance are the insurance company who will pay your beneficiary, will pay your loved one. Let's use your term loved one. Will pay your loved one, your friend, your church, your family member, whoever. The insurance company, a complete stranger, is saying to you, when you die, we know that you're going to die one day. But guess what? When you die, we're going to pay them some money. And in exchange for that, you just have to pay us an annual premium. That annual premium can be something like $1,200 a year, or $100 a month, or $50 a month. But if you pay us every month $50 a month, when that day comes that your number is called and the trumpets sound, da, 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 and it's time for you to go on to the next incarnation or whatever you believe in, or maybe you're going to heaven, when it's that time, then we're going to pay the people that you love. And so you're like, wait a minute. So in most cases, let's just think if you're a healthy, let's say 25-year-old. If you're a healthy 25-year-old, you can probably get $100,000 of life insurance for under $50 a month. Let me say that again. If you're under 25, you can probably get $100,000 of coverage of life insurance for under $50 a month. I would say maybe about $25 a month if you're healthy. And so what that means is you would be able to pay $25 a month. And if something happens to you, we never know what's going to happen. The insurance company will pay your mother, sister, grandmother, spouse, children, whoever, $100,000. And so when you think about it, why don't more people have life insurance? I believe it's because people don't understand life insurance and they don't understand the components and the benefits of it. So let's start by breaking it down. So you got the insurance company. That's the person who's going to cut the big check. And you have the insured, the person whose life it's on, right? And so at a very basic concept, there are two people involved in a life insurance contract, the insurance company and the insured. Now, I want you to think a little broader, on a little broader terms. This is where it gets interesting. We may have to carry this into another episode, but I want you to think on the broader terms, and I want you to think about the policy owner. So the policy owner of a life insurance contract is the person who pays the premium. That's the person who cuts the check, right? So in my world, I like to say that's the boss lady, right? The boss lady is the person who's paying for the life insurance policy every month, every year, every quarter, whatever the arrangements are. They're the boss. And because they're the policy owner and they're the boss, they have all the control. Let me say that again. Because they're the policy owner and they're the boss, they have all the control, which means they get to decide who the money goes to when the insured passes away. So let me back up because I know I may be going a little bit fast. So first we're going to talk about the policy owner. The policy owner is the person who pays the life insurance premium. Then we're going to go to the insured. The insured is the person whose life is we're putting up for collateral for the insurance policy, right? So a mother may be the policy owner for a life insurance policy on her child. As a matter of fact, my daughter's 19. For some reason, she doesn't remember when she took her medical, but we were having a conversation a few weeks ago and she says, you have life insurance on me? I said, of course. And she was just so appalled. You have life insurance on me? Absolutely. You don't remember when you took the blood and urine? In that case, I am the policy owner. I pay the annual premium. She is the insured. That means we used her health. She took the blood work, the urine, medical records, whatever, the insurance company needs, depending on the type of life insurance policy that you're applying for. But we used her health to qualify. So since we use her health to qualify, she's the insured. So you got the policy owner, you have the insured, or we can call it the mule, the person whose body or life we're insuring. And if something happens to the insured, that's when they pay. If something happens when the insured dies or transitions, that's when the life insurance is going to pay. The third component of a life insurance policy is the beneficiary. The beneficiary is who gets the money. Now, I want you to understand this. The policy owner, the insured, and the beneficiary are three different titles, and they can be three different people. They can be three different people, meaning I'm the policy owner on my daughter's policy. She's the insured, and I could have my father as the beneficiary. Let's think about that. So on another show, we'll talk about how we use life insurance to really transfer wealth and pass down wealth. Most people think that when we say life insurance is a great way to pass wealth and transfer wealth, most people feel like it is by when you receive the death benefit. But we get very creative with that. We'll talk about that on another show. But right now, I want you to think about policy owner, insured, and beneficiary. The beneficiary is the person who receives the money. So in my case, I'm the policy owner. My daughter, Kyla, is the insured, and I'm also the beneficiary. However, because I'm the policy owner, I can make anybody I want the beneficiary. I can make my son the beneficiary. I can make my dad the beneficiary, my ex-husband, whoever I want to be the beneficiary within reason. I mean, the insurance company does have some rules and regulations as far as insurable interest and things like that. But I can make whoever I want to be the beneficiary. Why is this important for you? Because when you start to think about the importance of life insurance, when you start to think about giving the gift of life insurance, I want you to know that you can use your life, you can use someone else's life, you can get very creative with it. The point of the insurance is for you to be living a legacy and leaving a legacy for someone else. And really the point is for you to be handling your affairs before, after you pass, so that your family isn't scrambling. Okay, so we got policy owner, we have insured, and we have beneficiary. Why are these terms important for you? The first thing I want you to do is to think about you. Do you have life insurance on yourself? So before you can think about getting insurance on somebody else, you have to have life insurance on yourself. I had a call again last week. Speaking of, we get a lot of insurance calls, but I had a call last week. And this gentleman, we were going through the process of getting some insurance for him. And then he called and he switched and he said, you know what? Why don't we just put the insurance policy on my daughter? My daughter's 4 years old and I want to pay, $300 a month for an insurance policy for her. I want to be the policy owner and I want to be the beneficiary. And I said, well, it's great that you want to get insurance on your daughter because you will be locking in insurability. And then also, when I say locking in insurability, let me break that down for you. That means that while your daughter is 4, depending on the type of policy that we get for her, if she's 4, we can have her qualify for a policy today that will carry her until she's 101, age 101. What does that mean? That means as time changes and as life goes on, if any illnesses, high blood pressure, diabetes, whatever the case may be, anything occurs, any cancers, anything comes up, her life insurance policy is set because we locked in insurability at such a very young age. That's a hack. That's something that we want to do. I know most people feel like you don't have to have life insurance on your children. Well, nowadays it's a little different because the times are changing as far as what's going on with the babies and the children and stuff. But that's a hack. If you, and then think about this, really locking in insurability on a child and you being the policy owner and the beneficiary, you're the person who benefits. All you're doing is saying, hey, if something ever happens to you, then you're covered. And then if you have one of those super duper life insurance policies like the ones that we sell at the Henderson Financial Group, then you can borrow cash value out of it. And so what that means is you're setting up, I want you to look at it as you're setting up an account by using your child's good credit. And you're saying, hey, we're opening this account by using your child's good credit, but I have all the control. I have the control over the policy. I can take money in and out of the policy. And if something ever happens to you, then I'm the beneficiary. I get the lump sum as well. So that's something that we do. And it's a different strategy. And I'm sharing this example with you because I want you to start thinking and getting creative about ways that you can use life insurance. But before you do that, like the gentleman that called the office and he wants to get insurance on his child, I said, great. I love that you're thinking ahead. We can lock in insurability, but the insurance company is going to say, you got to have insurance on yourself first. Like, do we have insurance on the dad first? And so I explained to him, and this is another epiphany moment where I realized that there's just so much that we don't know, that people don't know. And as I explained to him why he needed insurance on himself first and why we needed to make sure that the insurance coverage amount that he had on his daughter was within reason, a light bulb moment went off. He says, oh, I need insurance on myself. And they want to make sure that the amount that I have on my daughter is within reason for a 4-year-old because they don't want to think that I'm going to knock her off. And I said, absolutely. People do this. This is a different type of society that we're living in these days. We're living in a society where people kind of get carried away sometimes and they do some strange things for a small piece of change. So the thought process of insuring his daughter and him being the policy owner and beneficiary, I love that. I love that he understood the 3 different components. So I wanted to talk about that on today's show. I wanted to open up with that because as we're in the gift giving season, ask yourselves, are you giving yourself and your loved ones the gift of peace of mind? Because that's really what life insurance is. And I know, we're all going to live forever. We're going to be immortal. We love it here on planet Earth so much that we never want to go. But as you're thinking about that, I want you to ask yourself, don't make it about you transitioning. Don't make it about you dying. Ask yourself about peace of mind. Are you giving your loved ones the gift of peace of mind? And I just explained to you that there are 3 components. You got the policy owner, the insured, and the beneficiary. With that information alone, you should be thinking, your wheels should be spinning and saying, let me look and see about life insurance for myself. And then let me get some life insurance on my husband or my wife or my children. Let me figure this out because we need peace of mind. In the time of transition, we're going to need peace of mind. And again, with living benefits insurance, you need peace of mind while you're alive. It's 6:22. You're listening to the American Cream Show. I'm your host, Hyacinth Henderson. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back from this commercial break, I'm going to wrap up the life insurance segment, and then we're going to get Mr. Robert Henderson, Jr., Certified Financial Planner, on the line with us to do the second half of the show with me. We'll be right back.
Linda, people have worked very hard all their entire lives to save what they thought was enough for retirement.
Robert, what is enough? Especially in today's volatile stock market, so many people are concerned that they just may not have enough to retire. So what can they do?
All it really takes is sitting down with someone at the Henderson Financial Group to first educate you and then discuss your personal goals and objectives and working out a plan to help you succeed.
I agree. I'm Linda V. Harris, Vice President of the Henderson Financial Group and a retirement planning specialist.
And I'm Robert Henderson Jr., Certified Financial Planner, the President of the Henderson Financial Group.
What I love about us at the Henderson Financial Group, Robert, is we've helped so many people just like you, just like our listening audience, prepare for a successful and prosperous retirement.
Don't wait. Call our office today at 305-825-1444 and you'll be glad you did. Hey y'all, did you know that women reaching the age of 65 are expected to live 2.3 years longer than men?
Wow, don't I know it? My friends and I talk about it quite often. And we're also less likely than men to have additional sources of income to help supplement our retirement income beyond our retirement years, Robert.
On top of that, Linda, Social Security might not be enough to cover your retirement needs or those of a loved one after you're gone.
That's why it's so important, and we keep saying it, just to give the Henderson Financial Group a call, you have to learn about ways to help supplement that Social Security income with additional monthly income.
We can tell you how to do that. I'm Robert Henderson, Certified Financial Planner, President of the Henderson Financial Group.
And I'm Linda V. Harris, Vice President of the Henderson Financial Group.
Call us today at 305-825-1444 and let us help you get started right away.
Welcome back. It is Saturday, December 21st, 2019. Actually, I just realized it's 4 days until Christmas. Wow. All you last minute shoppers, I hope you are doing your thing. Stay safe out there. It's Saturday, December 19th, December 21st, 2019. You are listening to the American Cream Radio Show on WNMA, the 1210 The Man. And of course, I'm not a man, I'm a woman, but they allow me to be here and I like it here. So here we are. I'm your host, Hyacinth Henderson. The American Cream is a financial educational radio show. We educate, teach you, lead you, guide you on ways to redefine the American dream on your terms, because really at the end of the day, your terms are the only terms that matter. Let me say that again. Your terms are the only terms that really and truly matter. We'll get into mindset another day, but today we're talking about life insurance. But on the American Cream, we show you how to redefine the dream with cream, and that's credit, real estate, entrepreneurship, assets, and mindset. Mindset is probably my most favorite topic to talk about because it is the absolute foundation to just everything. It's the foundation to your life. Your life is a reflection of your mindset, the thoughts and the things that you tell yourself. And so it's important. So it's important to talk about on the financial educational radio show. So before the commercial break, we were speaking about life insurance and the importance of it. And as you are doing your last minute shopping, as you are gift giving, as you are wrapping gifts, as you are preparing to show your loved ones that you really love them, I want you to ask yourself, do you have life insurance? And if you have life insurance, congratulations. That is absolutely awesome. What I want you to then do is to review your life insurance. Ask yourself, when's the last time I reviewed my life insurance policy? Do I know what this means? Do my friends and family members know that I have this life insurance policy? So in the season of gift giving, I want you to give the ultimate gift. And the ultimate gift is the gift of peace of mind. And that's really what life insurance does for your loved ones, for you. It doesn't matter if you're a single parent, if you're married, single, you need you some life insurance. And so if you need help with that, give us a call, 305-825-1444. Right now, I'm going to transition into the next topic. The next topic is I was sitting in my dad's office yesterday. If you don't know, I am Hyacinth Henderson. I am the managing director at the Henderson Financial Group. My father, the big kahuna, president and CEO of the Henderson Financial Group, founded the firm 30 years ago, and he still works at the firm. So I get to see him 5 days a week. How blessed am I that I get to see him 5 days a week. And in addition to working with him, we have one-on-one conversations and talks and stuff like that as well. So sitting in his office yesterday, and I said, gosh, do you realize there's this thing going around, the social media meme, and people are talking, saying, gosh, we went 10 years, we went an entire decade without a recession. And he says, yeah, so you got to go to the bathroom. I'm like, what are you talking about? And so a conversation ensued, and it was a great conversation. And I said, come on the radio show. Let's talk about this tomorrow, because can't nobody say it like you say it. I like the way you say it. So, Pops, Mr. Henderson, are you with us today?
Yes, I'm here, daughter.
You're here. Good. Thank you for being up for me at 6:28 in the morning. I appreciate that on your Saturday.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm getting ready to go catch a flight.
I know. You're going to catch a flight in your mind. You're going to fly on down here to 1210. Well, actually, your show's up next, so you get a head start. You can actually meditate before your show now.
Well, mine's come on at 8 o'clock,
8 o'clock. Yeah, so you got a head start. You got some time. Maybe you could do some burpees. You love those burpees so much.
Yeah, that sounds good. 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the morning, yeah.
It's the sarcasm that's coming through. All right. So, Mr. Henderson, if you don't realize, Mr. Henderson does have a show at 8 a.m., the Understanding Money radio show. He does it with his co-host, the vice president of the Henderson Financial Group. That's Miss Linda V. Harris. And they have a great show today. I think they may be talking about federal employees or something like that. So he'll go into more.
TSPs.
Yeah, the TSP and federal employees, which is a huge topic. And our federal employees, you all do so much to serve and to help. You all need to absolutely be educated and aware of your money, of your retirement money, especially because after you have finished serving us, after you've dedicated so much of your time to, the masses, after you've dedicated so much of your time to society, when you get ready to retire, you want to make sure that you are making the right decisions and the right choices. And at the Henderson Financial Group, that is one of our specialties. We are federal employee specialists, And on Mr. Henderson's show today at 8 o'clock, they're going to go into that TSP. And that's code word for they're going to be talking about your retirement money and some things that you need to do to set up, to put in place so that you can maximize your retirement benefits. So by the time you get ready to say, all right, y'all, I'm done. I've served you all. I'm done. Your money can be looking right instead of looking funny, right? And that's that.
And there's some big changes. Big changes that took place in September, in the TSP. So we're going to be talking about that at the 8 o'clock hour from 8 to 9 today. So, hey, if you're a federal employee and there's over 3 million of you all, another 2 million has retired, you need to really, really tune in to the same station so we can bring you up to speed. And there's some great things that's been taking place. So I think you're really going to enjoy it. And hey, information is what it's all about. If you don't know something, I tell you, you're going to be left out.
Yeah,
so
if you don't know
tune
something,
in at 8 o'clock.
You got to get to know something. 8 o'clock. So you may be a federal employee or you know someone that's a federal employee. Like everyone knows someone who's a federal. And let's talk about who a federal employee is. Can we talk about that really quickly? Mr. Henderson, that's a post office worker.
So you got a post office, air traffic controller, FBI, firefighters, we got people that work at the VA hospital, and it's a lot of them. It's aviation, agricultural, TSAs. I mean, there are a lot of federal employees, and you definitely got to know your benefits because everybody was kind of freaking out when they had that shutdown and they didn't get paid. So it's a lot of rights, a lot of strategy that you need to know. So I know that manual is thick, and you guys don't have a lot of go-to people to talk to. But since now Henderson Financial Group, even Hyacinth, my daughter here, all of us, we're federal employee specialists. We can really help guide you, and you have someone that you can really talk to and break it down to you like you're a 6-year-old. And when the best time was. There's a best date to retire when you're getting ready to retire, whether it's going to be at the beginning of the month or the end of the month. Really, really matters. So you need to, call our offices. Our office at 305-825-1444 and get a consultation. Doesn't cost you anything. You have free consultations, and we'll help you out.
Yep. We will help you out. And those postal workers, you guys have been doing an amazing job delivering all my packages. I mean, you've been beating the time, especially during this holiday. Like it may say it's going to be delivered Saturday and it comes Thursday. And I'm like so impressed with that. So thank you for your service. And if you are able to tune in 8 o'clock. All right. So what I want to talk about today with you, Mr. Henderson, Mr. Robert Henderson Jr., I want to talk about, the state of the economy. As I shared yesterday, I'm like, we're kind of waiting on this, recession. We're waiting on the market to turn. We're waiting, like we're ready. We're waiting. And some of you may be wondering, why are you waiting for this to happen? Well, that's what the wealthy people do. That's what we do. Like we wait for it to happen because that's when we want to buy. We want to buy low. We don't want to buy anything high. If you're buying anything right now, most things you're overpaying because it's high, it's inflated. So we're waiting for the market to turn and the economy to shift because we want to get us some more assets. We want to get us some more income producing assets. And I'm like, gosh, we just want a decade without a recession. We just want an entire 10 years. What is going on? And the conversation ensued. What do you think about that, Mr. Henderson?
Well, I mean, when you're saying in high schools, we was talking yesterday evening in the office, and you said, when it's going to, you guys have been, you said that, we're waiting, just like impatient millennials. You're saying you're waiting and waiting. When is it going to happen? And I say, well, the President Trump really wants to get reelected. I mean, it's going to happen, but you remember, I've been in the market and an advisor for over 30 years, and the market and the stock market definitely climbs. It goes up, when you least think it is going to go up. We always say that the market climbs up on a wall of worry. In other words, when you thinking something is going to happen, it doesn't happen. When you don't think that it's going to happen, it happens. So you anticipate it, and everybody anticipated because statistically, we probably should have already, the market should have already pulled back. Interest rates should have been up. But, when you have an election year, when you have someone who's very eccentric and have a president like we've never had a president before, like a business guy, Trump here, a lot of the conventional wisdom, a lot of the conventional things that have happened before has changed. It's not not the same. It's like if you usually go to eat and then you go to you have your release and you go to the toilet at a certain time. Well, now it's like you're constipated, so to speak. It's like the market is being prolonged, and it's really been we think it's been artificially prolonged, because all of the books, everything said that we should have. But if you artificially make sure or inflate the market or prop the market up where it won't come down because you lower the interest rates. Right now interest rates are so low, and it's been low for a long time. And the Fed chairman has had a lot of pressure from President Trump to not increase interest rates, because if you increase interest rate, then it slows down the economy. It slows down spending. The merchants, the people who actually sell goods and services, that have less traffic, the real estate values and people being able to qualify for homes will slow down. That's one of the strategies that the Fed does. It kind of controls the economy so it won't overheat. That's factored by, when Trump came in and he actually gave his whole tax cuts. The whole tax cuts really fueled a lot of the corporations that were paying billions and billions of dollars in taxes. He just gave them a raise. I mean, if you're a business and usually you pay, $10 billion in taxes, a year, and all of a sudden you only have to pay, $1 billion a year. You just got a $9 billion raise. So it's kind of hard to not like that, because, people like money. I mean, people might not know a whole lot about politics. They might not understand what's going on, the whole macro understanding of economics. But one thing they do know, you give them some money, and they'll like you again. They'll forget about your ways. Money.
It
really,
gives you a pass.
Really makes you.
It gives you a pass. They'll give you a pass. They'll give you a pass, like what they've been doing with the president. They've been giving him a pass because they're like, as much as you may be doing things that we don't agree with, the money is circulating. And so we're going to give you a pass, right?
Yeah. I mean, think about it. I mean, if you look at your 401k and, those tax cuts, they thought that it was going to trickle down to the little guy and lesser, wealthier people. But what it did was the corporations didn't, what they did was they bought more of their shares back. They bought their own company shares, but it means their stocks went up, which means when the stocks go up, then if you're in the market and you have a 401k, or if you have mutual funds, then you like what's happening because you look at your statement and it's higher. So, it's a way of, making you just feel healthy and wealthy, and then you go out and you spend, and you try to go on a weekend in South Florida, or anywhere around the country. The restaurants are full. You know what I mean? So people feel good and they spend, and the money is circulating. It just goes back to the people who actually own the restaurants, who actually own the stores, who own the car dealerships. So the rich are getting richer. That's what's happening.
That's what's happening. And, it's a great point that you made is you said, and I don't know if our listeners caught this, so I'm going to repeat it because it's very important. You said with the type of president that we have in office now, some of the, I don't pretend to be very involved in politics, but I think it's pretty evident that some of the conventional and traditional wisdom that comes along with politics and running in a nation and things like that is out the window. He's more of a businessman, which is cool, right? So since he's a businessman, then we are making moves, or he is doing things such as keeping interest rates low so that the money continues to circulate from a business perspective. So what Mr. Henderson is saying is, basically, I love the analogy that you gave yesterday, or the example that you gave yesterday. And you said, imagine going to eat. You go to a buffet. And as you go to a buffet or a restaurant to eat, the chef or the people behind the scenes are secretly putting, something in your food that's making you not feel full and with keeping you from going to the restroom. So as you're eating, you're sitting there and you're like, wow, I've just been eating and eating and eating. And I'm not even full yet, and I don't have to go to the restroom. I'm able to sit here and continue to eat, right? And
Right.
so that is what's going on with the economy because of the type of president that we have. He's a businessman, and he's saying, wait a minute. They should know that they're going to have to go to the bathroom one day, but since they don't really know when, let's just keep feeding them. Let's keep feeding them.
It's natural.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
And the body naturally will correct itself. Something will happen. So a lot of your millennials are saying you're going to wait until recession or the crash, but it may be another year, 2 years, 3 years, but it's going to happen because it has to happen because the world corrects itself, just like the environment. It's off, but you have to correct it. Otherwise, you're gonna be destroyed. So you have to go. In other words, in your analogy and what we were talking about yesterday, you're gonna have to have a release. You can't just keep eating. You got to go to the restroom sooner or later because that's part of life. We live in cycles. Everything is cycles, up and down, just like a roller coaster. You can't be on a roller coaster and not have, going down and going up the dips. If you just keep going up and up, you can't keep going to the moon. I mean,
how you gonna get down? You gotta come down.
Right.
And here's the thing: if you on the roller coaster and you keep going up and up and up, boy, what happens when you come down?
Well, that's what's happening. It's like gravity. It's like gravity. What goes up, it has to come down. It just, think about this, Heisey. It's like if you're breathing, just your body itself. I mean, you inhale and you exhale. Can you imagine just inhaling?
Right. It's unnatural.
Sooner or later, you got to exhale, right?
You got to let it out.
Yeah.
You have to.
Some people can inhale a long time. Like you have those free divers that goes and they dive. You know what a free diver is?
When they go under, they dive without the tank, right?
Right.
Yeah, they dive without the tank. They just go down. They've trained their lungs to be able to do that.
Well, that's what we're doing right now. That's where we are now. We're free diving. And you all are saying, when are you gonna come up? They still down there? They okay?
Yeah.
That's what you're saying right now.
What's going on? Okay. All right. Anything else you want to add?
Well, I think that we need to act, and most people who don't really understand what's going on, the big picture. I mean, we're right now we're like squirrels eating all our nuts. The masses of squirrels eating their nuts. It's okay, to eat your nuts. In other words, you're making money using a metaphor. It's okay to eat some nuts, but you got to put some nuts away, because we're better than squirrels. God made us, to have dominion over, all the animals and the ruler of the planet is mankind. Surely we have to have more instinct and understanding than a squirrel. So you can't just keep living paycheck to paycheck and partying like it's 1999 and having a good time. You're going to have to, put some of your nuts away because like that free diving, you got to come up for air. And when you come up, you don't want to be a disaster saying, oh, my God, because if you look back in history, cycles, it happens. It's like it's night follows day. It just has to. You just can't have day all day, because the ecosystem, the whole planet will be off. You need the rain sometime because you need the rain because you need to help replenish the earth, the water. So so you don't have to get upset about it, or you don't have to say, no, this president, he's going to keep it going up and up forever. That's childlike. It doesn't understand the way life works. So just be prepared. And also, I'm not a doomsday guy. I'm just, I've been doing this a long time. I want you to start putting some money away for a rainy day, so to speak.
Absolutely. To be proactive. Be proactive. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Henderson. I'm going to let you go ahead and get into your burpees or your bed, one of the two. I appreciate you. That's President and CEO, founder of the Henderson Financial Group. My father, I'm very proud of him. Be sure to tune in to his show, the Understanding Money radio show with him and his co-host, my aunt, Linda V. Harris. Today, they're talking about federal funding. So call all your postal workers, your TSA workers, and tell them to tune in to 1210 a.m. The Man at 8 a.m. It's going to be a great show. Thanks, Pops. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so now I love the way that he explains things, and I just kind of feel like because of his age and the time that he's been in, that he can say some things that you may receive a little better, as opposed to when I say it as a millennial, as he loves to say that I'm a millennial. And yes, I am a millennial. I'm 38 years old this year. So, but yes, we're waiting for it to happen. And I love what he said about President Trump being a businessman. So really what I want you to think about, everyone under the sound of my voice, what I want you to think about, what you should take away from that conversation is there's somebody behind a big curtain saying, hey, we're all having a ball. Life is great. I want you all to get out on the dance floor and dance, have a great time, eat and drink and be merry. And you've just been going and going and going. And you're thinking, wow, since this has been going so long, we're going to get very comfortable because we feel like this is going to happen forever. We feel like it's going to always be this way. So we aren't thinking about going home. We aren't thinking about letting the dog out. We aren't thinking about our babies. We aren't thinking about anything. We're just partying on the dance floor. And all of a sudden, the floor just drops from under you. And like you said, we're not doomsday type of people, but we want you to be aware, because awareness is key. When you are aware and reminded that one day something has to shift, then you can say, okay, wait a minute. I know I've been on this dance floor dancing. And I looked up and it's been like a week that I'm on this dance floor, or two days that I'm on this dance floor. I got to go home now. I got to go home and take care of my responsibilities. That's how I want you to think about what's going on in the economy right now. Sure, it makes a good social media meme, a whole decade without a recession, and President Trump is the man, or whatever the case may be. But I want you to use your foresight and realize that, as he stated, Mr. Henderson stated, what goes up must come down. And if you aren't going up and down at short intervals, what do you think is going to happen when you go up, up, up high? That drop down is going to be, you're going to feel it more. That drop on the way down, you're going to feel that more than you would have felt it if it was a lower drop. So what does that mean for you? Because this is the financial education radio show. As I teach and preach all day long, you got to get your credit and your cash in order. I don't know when it's going to happen. We're waiting for it to happen. He says I'm impatient. I like to think that I'm not. But while we patiently wait, I want you to be thinking about your credit and your cash. And life insurance as well. And we use life insurance as a form of cash as well. We'll get into that another day. But why do I want you to be thinking about your credit and your cash? I want you to be ready. You got to be ready to be ready to be ready to be ready, so that when the floor drops from under you, when you realize that you've been sitting at this buffet and gosh, they've been having me sit here and putting that stuff in my food, but it finally wore off. I got to go to the bathroom, AKA when it's time for a shift, you can be prepared. And how are you going to be prepared? You're going to have your credit where it needs to be so that you can buy up all the property that people are losing. Because some people on the dance floor aren't thinking about the kids at home. They aren't thinking about the fact that the dog needs to be walked. They're just dancing and dancing and dancing. And especially if you're like most people nowadays, I'm realizing that lots of people use drugs. Like when I was coming up, drugs was just crack, cocaine. Like I'm an 80s baby. So when you heard about drugs, you just heard about hard drugs like crack and coke and heroin and stuff like that. But nowadays, these people are popping pills and you wouldn't even know it. So if you're on the dance floor with someone and they're just using drugs, they may not even realize that one day they're going to have to go home. But you're different. You're different from them. You realize, and if you didn't realize it before, you certainly realize it now because you're listening to the sound of my voice, that this is going to shift. What do? Go back and listen to my radio shows. I put them up on YouTube. I talk about a range of topics to prepare you because I want you to be prepared. I would love for you to come to the Henderson Financial Group, but regardless, if you never step foot into the Henderson Financial Group, you will always remember the sound of my voice and remember that Hyacinth and Henderson suggested and advised that you get your credit and your cash in order. How do you do that? First of all, you got to create a budget. You have to know what's going on with your money. You can eat some of your nuts now, but you got to be stockpiling most of your nuts. In 2020, can we talk about making that a goal? Can we talk about making that a resolution? As we prepare for, it's 10 days to the new year, to New Year's Eve, as we start thinking about resolutions and things like that. Let's talk about what we're going to do with our budget, how we're going to change that. How much are you going to prepare for the future? Because when the recession hits, or when the economy shifts, and I like to say recession, but when the economy shifts, you're going to be on one side of the fence. Either you're going to be on the side of the fence that's saying, oh my gosh, woe is me. I was on the dance floor using drugs. I didn't even see that this was coming. Or you're going to say, I was on the dance floor having a good time, but at some point I went home because I realized that I needed to prepare for the next day. I couldn't stay on the dance floor all night. I had responsibilities at home. And so what that means in the financial world is you're either going to be on the side of the fence of you're complaining about the things in the economy, or you're going to be on the side of the fence where you're ready. That means your credit is in order. You're ready to buy what you need to buy. You have cash. You have all the money that you need to be able to wheel and deal and move and shake so that you can pick up some properties. You can invest in businesses. You can do some things that will keep you in a position of living your legacy. Remember, we started today's show. I said most people are concerned with leaving a legacy. I want you to live a legacy. How do you live a legacy? With your actions and making wise decisions today. It's a mindset shift. You have the money. As I live in Pembroke Pines, and so in Pembroke Pines, as you may know, there are lots of malls and stores and things like that. I just want to go to the grocery store. And as I try to just go to Costco, the parking lots are so crowded. The streets are so crowded. My commute to and from home has been extended by an extra 15 minutes because everyone is shopping. And I said to myself, where are y'all getting all this money from? Where are people getting this money from? Because just 2 months ago, you didn't have no money. Remember, that's what you said when I asked you to invest and pay yourself first. So I want you to think about that as you start to prepare. It's not a money problem. It's the action that you're taking. And what are you going to do that? What are you going to do? We started the show talking about life insurance. You got to get some stuff in order. Get your financial house in order. I'm waiting and I am ready. I want you to be waiting and ready as well. I want you to be on the side of the fence that says, well, yeah, it's unfortunate for some people, but it's fortunate for me. And you can call it what you want to call it. You can call it, but the fact remains is there are winners and there are losers. And you got to know how to play the game. I always say there are rules to the game and there are people who know how to play the rules of the game. Just because you acknowledge that there are rules of the game, that's not enough. It's not enough to say, oh, there are rules to the game. You got to know how to play the rules. You got to know how to use them to your advantage. And so that's what we want you to do. That's what we're talking about. So the homework for today's show is to go back, review your life insurance policy. If you don't have a life insurance policy, you should absolutely be calling the Henderson Financial Group at 305-825-1444. We will give you a free life insurance review of your current policy. We'll also quote you and set you up for a policy for yourself. And because you know that there are three components: a policy owner, the insured, and the beneficiary. After we set you up for a policy for yourself, then we'll talk about setting up a policy for your children. Talking about a 529 plan. We use life insurance to send our babies to college. We use that because we get really creative with that. We can put money away, more money than you can in a 529 plan, and there are no tax implications. So we use life insurance for a range of things, but you first got to start with yourself as you're giving the gift. And it's okay. Y'all know I haven't bought one Christmas gift. I haven't bought one Christmas gift. I'm so proud of that. It's okay for you to tell people, I couldn't buy you a Christmas gift that you could see right now. But what I did do is I got a life insurance policy on myself. And so one day, we don't know when that day is going to come, just like we're waiting on the economy to shift. One day, you're going to be set. And they will either get it or not. But at least you will be okay. And if you have a cash value life insurance policy, that's really what we like, because when that economy shifts, guess where you're pulling some of that money out? When the banks are, getting silly with their lending, you're pulling money out of your life insurance policy. And when you pull the money out of your life insurance policy, you're in control. You're going to be your own bank. We'll talk about that another day. So review your life insurance and then look at your budget. I'm going to talk to you there will never be a show where I don't mention the B word. And the B word is budget. Look at your budget, figure out what you're saving, what you're putting away for yourself. Did you give yourself a raise this week? This pay period, did you give yourself a raise? What do you mean, Hyacinth? Did you increase the amount that you put towards your savings account or your rainy day fund, wherever you have? You may have money in the mattress or behind the dresser. I don't know. But did you give yourself a raise? At minimum, you should be paying yourself 10% first. Did you increase it to 15%? Maybe you went up to 11%. If you have not given yourself a raise, I want you to promise me before the end of this year, that's 10 days left, you will give yourself a raise, give yourself a bonus, add some extra funds to your rainy day fund, add some extra funds to your investment accounts, because it's for you. It's not for anyone else but you. You've been listening to the American Cream Radio Show. I'm your host, Hyacinth Henderson. We're on 1210 The Man. That's WNMA The Man. We run a full service financial planning and investment advisory firm by day. Been around for 30 years. I've been with the firm for 17 years. What's the difference between financial planning and investment advisory? I love to say that financial planning is the engine for the car. If I tell you I have a brand new car for you downstairs, it could be the car of your dreams, the car you've always hoped and dreamed of. You put it on your vision board. If it does not have an engine inside, you're going to think that I duped you. That's what a financial plan is when you're talking about your money. This is why we do financial planning, because the stock market, mutual funds, life insurance, real estate, all of those things are the bells and whistles. All of those things are just the tools on my fancy tool belt. I got to know what kind of house you're building. Before I can pull out a wrench or a hammer or a jackknife or a jigsaw, I got to learn the names of these tools, since I like using this analogy. Before I can pull that off of my tool belt, I got to know what you're building. Are you building a house? Are you building a boat? What are you building? And so that's where the financial plan comes in. You absolutely have to have a plan, because if you just come to me and say, hey, I'm on Facebook all day, so I want to invest in Facebook, and I put your money in Facebook without an engine in the car, you may not be going where you want to go. You're not going anywhere fast. You just got you some Facebook. Or you just have a shiny new car downstairs, but it doesn't have an engine. You can look up in 10 years and say, gosh, I've had this Facebook stock, but I'm still working paycheck to paycheck. I'm still living paycheck to paycheck. I'm still doing what I was doing before I bought the Facebook stock. And then that's why people get frustrated and say, well, they said that I shouldn't invest and they said that I should do this, but I didn't really see the difference, so I stopped that. You get frustrated because you don't feel like you're moving down the road. The reason why you aren't moving down the road is because you don't have an engine in your car. What's the engine? The financial plan. So we do full service financial planning first and foremost, and we also do investment advisory. What is investment advising? Okay, you got your financial plan in order. Or you may have hit the lotto. We got a lot of lotto winners. You may have retired, whatever the case may be. You say, you know what, Hyacinth, I already got an engine in my car. Here's $500,000, $100,000. I want you all to invest. I want you to tell me, give me some advice on where to invest it. Is that the stock market? Is it real estate? So we do both at the Henderson Financial Group. It's not a one size fits all. Every client is different. No situation is the same. We don't have template, cookie cutter, microwave, TV dinners. We take our time and get to know you and your objectives and your risk tolerance, and then we set something up real, real good for you. That's what we do at the Henderson Financial Group. And you can find us online at www.thehendersonfinancialgroup.com. You can visit my personal website, www.hyacinthhenderson.com. Find me on all social media platforms. That is Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and sometimes Twitter. I should tweet more. Maybe I'll tweet more for 2020. And it's Hyacinth Henderson, HYACINTH Henderson. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be safe, safe, safe. Connect more than anything during these next few days. Make sure you connect. I know it's a go, go, go type of thing, but make sure you slow down, breathe. As I'm always told, take 2 deep breaths and enjoy and connect with the people who you love most. I will see you next week. Next week, we're going to talk about goal setting. We're going to talk about getting ready for 2020. Until then, be safe, be progressive, and be prosperous. Peace.
You've been listening to the American Cream Podcast, the #1 audio production show for people who want to achieve the American dream with cream. Love this episode of the American Cream? Head over to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Thank you. For free resources and materials, go to theamericancreampodcast.com.